All right, today we're going to talk about operations with integers, and we're going to focus on looking at addition and subtraction by looking at models of ways you can show students how to add and subtract integers. One of the models we're going to look at is using counters, and we're going to use the double-sided counters. So this problem says 3 plus 5. So we put out 3 yellow counters, which are positive, and we're adding 5 yellow counters. And then this shows that there is a total of 8. It's really good to start with an example that students understand and can build from their background knowledge with. So if we were to do this on the number line, again, we would start off with 3, and I'm just using Unifix blocks. So we have 3 starting at 0, and then we would add a set of 5 more. And together, students can count on the number line, or they can count the individual blocks to see that that's a total of 8 blocks. And you'd want to start with an example like that. Another example would then be to add a negative. So 3 plus negative 5. Again, you can start with the 3 counters. That's those positive ones. And then you would add 5 negative counters, which are the red side. When you do that, you want to talk about how one positive and one negative together make a 0. So we would take out our 0 pairs, and we'd end up with a total of negative 2. You can do that on the number line as well. We'll start off with 3 Unifix blocks, and we're going to add 5 negative blocks to that. So when we add our 5 negative blocks, we're going to start where the 3 is and add our 5 negatives. Negatives go towards the other way. They go towards the left. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative blocks, and that ends us up on the number line at a negative 2, which is the same as the counters. This helps connect the way that students have learned to add either through a number line or just adding objects in the past. This also works for subtraction. I'd want to start with a problem that's very familiar to them again. So we'd have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counters, and it asks us to take away 2. So we're just going to take away 2, and they're left with 3 counters. You can do the same with the Unifix blocks. We have 5 blocks, and then they can take away 2, and they're left with 3. Again, this is to connect them to what they already know. Then you can move into the integers and use a negative 5 minus 2. So we're going to start with negative 5 counters, and it asks us to subtract 2 positives. We don't have 2 positives, so we need to add 0 pairs. If we add 2 0 pairs, that allows us then to take away 2 positives, and we're left with negative 7. What that looks like on the number line with the Unifix blocks is we start off with negative 5, and then we add 2 to make our 0 pairs again. We add 2 positives and 2 negatives. We're going to take away those 2 positives, and we're going to end up with 7 negatives. This is just one way to connect to what students already know and help to build the conceptual knowledge around operations with integers. For more information, you can look at this elementary and middle school mathematics book called Teaching Developmentally by John Vandewall. The mathematics office has a copy that you could look at.